Go ahead.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hi. Yeah.
Of the table than
We
the
just
camera.
cut off Gurvinder's leg in order to be able to get this straight. I hope you appreciate it. I hope his leg gone. The first thing we talked about today was underwear. And you guys can vote whether you like thongs or not, but Sandeep loves them. She wears them every day.
Used to wear them. I just want to say I've embraced the grannies again, and there's nothing like full coverage. Oh, so good.
Real women, real lives, real stories. This is the Ladies in Power podcast. Unfiltered, unscripted, and refreshingly authentic. We're not holding back, and maybe after this, neither will you. Let's go.
Welcome to the Ladies in Power podcast. We are here to have some fun, share with you some things that we've learned in life, and hopefully inspire you to live a more joyful, free, abundant life. And so my name is Mika Casey.
I'm Gurvinder Doll.
I'm Dr. Soraya.
And I'm Sandeep Batha.
And we are Ladies in Power. And you are Ladies in Power, all of you, because you are a woman. And because you support each other and because you love us. All of that. And we love you.
We sure do.
So today we're talking about balance in life and work. And, we all end up in situations in our life where we feel stress, we feel guilt, we feel squeezed. And although we do want to feel joy and love and happy most of our lives, it is the truth that things happen and we end up just feeling the crunch. And so we're going to talk today about some of the things that we do to help us get out of that crunch, to release the guilt, the shame, the self-doubt, and to really find balance in our lives with our families, our partners, our careers, our pets, our friendships. There's always the search for balance. 100%, and especially as working moms, I think that as working moms, my own personal feeling has been that I was sometimes feeling guilty. Do I spend that time at home raising children or being at work? I'm with patients. And sometimes the balance was such that I felt pressured because I wasn't being a good enough doctor or I wasn't being a good enough mom. But I think the one thing I learned is no matter what you're doing, then commit to it 100%. There is nothing worse than being with your patients or your friends and wishing that you want to be at home or vice versa, being at home and wishing that you could be at work. And at the end of the day, kids grow up and they do need your love. But if you're not a happy mom, then you're not going to be a happy mom for them neither. So if that work, whether it's being whatever outside you're doing, if that gives you satisfaction and you can show up better for your kids, then great. I think that's great. And if you want to be a full-time mom, all the power to you. I say the hardest thing to do in the world is to be a mom. When I was working as, when children were little, me going to work was like a retreat, talking to adults, talking to my patients. And as a dentist, when you come to me and I put that rubber dam on you, you can no longer speak, which means it gives me the rein to talk for a full hour without having any interruptions. And that to me was heaven. I would be drilling and kind of talking about what was going at home and how my cooking burnt and how my husband did and that. And the poor patient would just be like, that's great. You go, Dr. S. So at the end of the day, if you find something that makes you happy, you take that happiness home. How do you guys feel about that?
I can't wait.
Did I talk too much?
You share that you find joy in drilling.
No, I don't find joy in drilling. I find joy in being able to talk for an hour non-interrupted.
Okay. Just
Right?
wanted to get
I mean, they are in heaven listening to me. Sometimes I would be singing to them. Sometimes I'd be telling them a joke. There were no TVs those days. 35 years ago, there were no TVs. So I was the entertainment, and I was good at it. I was good. They would pay not to have their teeth done, but just to listen to me and my jokes and my family problems, or at least that's what I told myself.
Well, that's a big point, is the story that you tell yourself.
Yeah.
I love that. You chose to tell the story that they love to hear about it, and that brought joy to you, which then brings joy to your clients. And then you go home feeling joy because you've had that space, and it's a cycle in our mind. We get to think and feel whatever we want, and you chose to feel great. You chose to. That is just so special. Really wanted to touch on that.
Thank you. I had the best time. And when I would go home, then I would be recharged and I would be happy to look after the kids. So that worked out. Yeah. Anyone stayed at home and raised their kids?
I did.
And how was that?
It was hard. It was
Yeah.
hard because you have to be completely on. I have 4. And my eldest was 7 when my youngest was born, and it was a lot. And I did everything on my own. When my youngest was born, we had someone come in and watch the kids. Well, help me with the other kids, but it was hard. It was very hard, and I didn't appreciate the help. It didn't help me.
What did you do? What did help you? What would be
Well,
some...
I finally, when I got into a rhythm, when I got into a schedule, especially when my youngest was about 3 months, I'm like, I'm good. I need a little bit of extra help I hired a babysitter to watch the kids, do afternoon stuff with them so I could focus because everybody just wanted me.
Yeah.
It's amazing. You talk about schedule, and, I'm wondering, how do you even begin to start a schedule? You've got a 7-year-old, you've got a newborn, and when I hear schedule, I think about, okay, I've got a grocery list, I've got, my work for the day. Your schedule is ever changing with 4 children of different ages. And how do you navigate that?
It took me a while. And I finally realized, I think, when my youngest turned 2, she was always screaming, and I couldn't figure things out. Nothing was working. And I'm like, I have to figure out what to do. And I found tapping.
Wow.
I received an email, and true story, I received an email, and I'm like, what is this tapping thing? And I didn't memorize any of the words. I just said, okay, kiddo, we're going to try this, and we're going to say, I love you. So on all the points, I went, I love you. I love you. I love you. And by the time we got to round 3, she's like, okay, I'm good. She was recharged, refuel, and my toddler just took off.
Wow.
And
Wow.
and the best part was, she would come up to me random times of the day, and she'd put her hands up, and she's like, I love you. I'm like, oh, you want me to do I love you on you? So we called it I love you, and she would just put her little hands up, and then I tried it on my older kids, and we called it I love you. I didn't use any of the wording. None of the wording. We just called it I love you, and I tapped I love you into all the points, and they were off.
So for those that don't know what tapping is, and you say you didn't use all the words, what does that mean?
So tapping is the emotional freedom technique, and we tap on various meridian points. And when you honor what you're feeling and you tap on the points, you get back to a beautiful neutral charge. And that's essentially what it did for my toddler and for my other kids. They got back to whatever was bugging them, just released itself out. And she got back to her happiness, a joyous toddler.
That's beautiful. And what if you have a child that doesn't want to do the tapping? Can you do it for them, or what would you?
You can do it for them. So I have a program called Oxygen Mask and Safety Net, and that helps mothers reset certain periods of their life. And by resetting certain periods of their life, there's a trickle effect that goes down to their children, no matter what age. I've had moms work on their 30-year-olds, moms work on toddlers, and it's really, really fascinating what happens. So the moms help their children get back to a really cool neutral charge again.
That's incredible. And we will put into the comment section for the show some ways to reach Gurvinder. And maybe you can add in there some links that would help our listeners, viewers with some techniques. That's really
Absolutely.
inspiring. How
Very
about you?
inspiring. This is such a great question. I mean, looking back, I think I was able to achieve a nice mix of career and being able to stay at home because I worked part-time. I still don't know if I've achieved perfect balance, but just touching on what both of you have said, I think it's about feeling what feels right for yourself.
Yes.
And I'm only learning to do that, I would say now, and paying attention, like, what do you want to do today? What feels good to you? So for me, growing up, my mom worked full time, so 5 days a week. So in your head, she was the one I looked up to. She was my, role model. So I just assumed moms work full time. And that, I think I valued that. And I saw that as the way it just is. And she seemed to balance it all. But of course, now having the hindsight, I realized there's a lot of things she wasn't able to do because her time was taken up with a full-time career. So for me, I ventured into working, I think 4 days to begin with, 5 at one point. I was working 3 different jobs in my career as a dietitian. And then there came a point after the kids were both born that I realized I just wasn't doing well. Like, not by them, not by me. And so decisions needed to be made. And I basically turned down an offer from one of my jobs to work more days. And that led to me being able to shift to about 3 days a week. So during the time that I raised them, mostly 3 days, then eventually I cut it down to even less than that and then picked up private practice. So it felt good because I think I liked the idea of doing what I'd gone to university for and been trained in. I liked that side of myself, keeping that sort of career, version of me. And then I also liked being able to pick up the kids on most days. And then I had help from my parents, and they were able to pick the kids up on the odd occasion, at least, regularly through that time. It's just such a blur, though. It's honestly such a blur. But I remember one era where I would drive 2.5 hours before I would get to work.
Wow.
So that meant driving from downtown to drop my daughter off at school by 8. Then I would drive to the other part of town to drop my son off with my parents, and then do the 45-minute commute to work.
Oh, wow.
And that was a 2.5-hour journey. And I remember just kind of thinking, wow, that's a lot. Does this make sense? Is this a good use of my time? But anyway, you do what you do until you kind of figure out that it's maybe not the best. And so dragging them, one in each arm down the apartment, the condo, elevator to the vehicle. And then, but I don't know. It's just whatever outlook you have. So we made a lot of fun out of it. So they were young, and we just used to make a lot of imaginary games come out of it. So always found the fun in what I was doing, but just, did it make sense? If I was to advise someone asking me now, I would say, don't do it. It's not worth it. Just do something else. Do something else. Find your path in a different way. So I don't think I was aware that I wasn't balanced. I was just in robot mode, just going.
Do you believe that balance is possible?
I believe you can achieve balance. Just, I don't think one should strive for it at all moments of all days. I don't think that's realistic. But I do think we all have those moments where we've just had a beautiful morning, or we've had a grand, walk along the beach or city walk, whatever it is. We have those moments in our day where we just feel, this feels so good and I'm so lit up. And we need to just pay attention to those more and more. Was it visiting with a friend? Was it working out? Was it seeing your parents? Was it working? So all of these things can make us feel lit up. And I know when I'm lit up, usually because I'm feeling a good balance of the things that are important to me. So yeah, I'm just all about paying attention to what lights me up. I'm on a mission. Chase joy. That's the mission. And when I'm chasing joy and I'm in joy, I pretty much guarantee I'm having a balanced, I'll say moment, because to say it my life, it's a bit too much. But for that moment, I'm balanced. Yeah.
You know what Sandeep says is so important, paying attention to your internal cues. Like, I remember when I gave birth, and that was many, many years ago, you didn't really talk about your mental health, life work balance. Those words are very new, and it wasn't there. And you didn't really think, am I okay? You were always into, is my husband okay? Is the work okay? Are the kids okay? I think, am I okay was the last thing that ever came, even crossed your mind.
100%.
You would go, go, go. And then I remember after I gave birth to our second child, I would draw the curtains and I would just sit somewhere. And one day a girlfriend came through and to visit, and she said, I don't think this is normal. I think you're going through depression. And I just went, what? Like, it just kind of struck me that it wasn't normal for me to sit in a dark room and cry. I thought that was normal. And only when somebody pointed it out, like nobody talked about postpartum depression or depression and I think now young moms are really conscious. I mean, in my day, I gave birth and then I think 4 months later, I was back at work.
Wow.
Now people are taking a year off. They're kind of listening to their own cues, what their bodies are telling them. But self-care should be on top of every woman's list. You should look at your energy level, your happiness level, like Sandeep was saying, your joy level. Am I okay? And there is many ways. I mean, we're here filming this beautiful environment, whether it's energy work, whether it's Reiki, whether it's massage, coffee with a friend, all of the above, whatever recharges you. And now there is so much talk of energy. We are energy. We're made of energy. We have to boost our own energies like batteries. There is a million ways of getting other people to help you with that. And I think it's a really good time to be a young mom, to be an older woman. It's a good time for the universe, period.
And I think one of the best ways is for us to, I think, start small on how we're going to take care of ourselves. And I think one of the best ways is to get a massage. And one of the reasons why I think the best way to get a massage is because we need that, as women, we need that human touch where we're being cared, because we're always the caretakers. We are the caretakers, and we need someone to take care of us. So I think massage, getting that human touch, is one of the best things that we can do for ourselves. And we can start off once a month or quarterly.
That's so interesting. Yeah. That's very interesting, your perspective on a good way for self-care.
Yeah.
For me, I almost feel like I like to be the one providing self-care in some ways. So for me, it would be go for a walk. Like, I know when I'm feeling a little bit tired, my energy level's low, I know, get outside. Just get outside, feel the air, cold, hot, whatever it is. Feel the rain, feel the sun. I'm just feeling alive in that moment, because I feel like I'm stepping out of myself. So for me, that's self-care. Just to get out of my head and get out of my small, whatever, path I'm on. I need to just get bigger. I need to just step back and see more of a bigger view on it.
Yeah.
And the way that happens for me is immediately stepping out. And so, but I like what you shared about letting someone take care of you and let that touch, almost feel like it's care for you. That's really nice. I like,
because I find that as women, we don't give that. We don't, we don't receive it. We don't, but we're always giving that.
Right.
And you're right. Taking a walk outside absolutely does it. Like being out in nature. But I'm like, just that human touch, it's like, oh my goodness. It does.
It feels really
we
good.
start
It really
releasing
does.
all that oxytocin. Our whole body starts calming down. Our nervous system just changes when we get that care.
Yeah.
The care we provide as women, we are receiving back.
Well, I want to chime in about this because, I don't have any children. However, I think that the world is my children. Like every relationship that I go into, I like to nurture. I don't have the same stresses, I think, of the parenting. It's not that I didn't want to have children. I just didn't get to. And what has helped me through the stresses that I get from wanting to get things done, because I'm not, as somebody that doesn't have children, and hopefully there's people out there that can relate, women that can relate. I almost feel like a part of me is wanting to make up for that by doing more. I don't get to be a mom, so I want to do more. And that can be a vicious cycle of do, 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 do. And when I get into a space of overwhelm or stress or feeling depressed or whatever it is, I get into nature. So you may, I love to touch the ground. I feel like Mother Earth is touching me back. Yes, I love the human touch. I love the hugs. I love the idea of massage and being here at Sunshine Healings. This place is incredible. There's an energy in here, and her touch, whether she's touching your ears with her voice, she sings like an angel, or she's touching you with her Reiki energy or whatever it is. It's beautiful. And I find going outside and hugging a tree, putting my feet, kicking my shoes and socks off and putting my feet in the ground, in the sand, in the water, in the grass. If I'm traveling, the minute I get off a plane and I get outside, as soon as I get to a safe place, my feet are out of my shoes and I am in the ground. I like to lay in the ground and have as much skin touching. That's why I love hugging trees. It's, an analogy that I got was so powerful, is that we are Mother Earth. As we breathe, Mother Earth is breathing. The Earth's crust is, the ground is expanding and shrinking with the cold and the warmth. With the rain, it gets, it opens up. There's so many things that happen in the ground that is happening in our bodies. We are all one.
Yes,
absolutely.
And the Mother Nature is the gift for that. I really find.
And it's called the Schumann resonance. It's 7.83 hertz, I believe, that the Earth, I'm going to say, beats at. So the Earth's heartbeat is 7.83 hertz. Don't quote me on that. I could be off by a little. And so when we go outside in nature, we strive to get to the hertz of the Earth. And sometimes it takes us a couple of minutes. Sometimes it takes us 45 minutes. Sometimes it takes us a couple of hours when we're outside. But we start beating at the same level as the Earth. And that's one of the most amazing things that we as humans can do, is just get down to Earth's level, because, as you said, we are one.
So, Mika, you were saying you love being on the ground, or when you get off the plane, you get off. So does that mean just your feet in the sand? Do you lie down? Do you sit in lotus position? Do you meditate? Or is it just simply walking barefoot that does it for you?
That's a great question. Whatever I can. So it depends on the environment. So if I'm in Las Vegas, maybe on the way to wherever I'm going, I will make a pit stop in the park, kick my shoes and socks off, go for a walk in my bare feet, and again, hug a tree. As much skin as I can get onto some of Mother Earth. It's grounding. The hertz that I'm learning now, it gets my... It's so healing. And I feel like, and I've read so many articles about it, the further we get away from Mother Earth, the sicker we get. So we have shoes on in the house that there's a floor between us and the ground. We go outside and everything is a layer between us and Mother Earth, if you look at it. And now we've got the technology that has a barrier as well, with the electricity and the electrodes, whatever they're called.
Electromagnetic.
Thank you. So there's more and more things that are coming between us and Mother Earth. So where we're sitting right now, we're blessed to be on a hardwood floor, and I've got my bare feet on. And though the hardwood is dead, It is shown that there is a communication that happens between the trees. Even when something is dead, it's still there and it's vibrating, because when something is, if it's in existence, if it has a form of matter of any sort, it is in vibration. It is matter. Therefore, it matters. So just having my bare feet right now planted on the hardwood is me feeling connected to Mother Earth.
And do you meditate?
I do.
And how do you find out? Does that help you a lot when you're traveling or when you're doing your speeches and, speaking in front of people, just calming you in general? Or how do you find out?
Yeah, so meditation for me is really, I use it to my benefit to whatever I'm about to go into. So if I need to meditate to help me detach from a situation, then I could go into a meditation to detach. And it starts with the breath work, and then it's detaching from matter as much as I possibly can, getting into a place where it's just dark. And I try to go into that place of nothingness. And that is a moment where I get to cleanse. And then I can also meditate into an emotion that I want to experience as if some event has already happened. So I do that as well, which gives me peace of mind. Okay, I play it all out in my head, how it wants to go, which is step one. Step two is feeling that emotion, really feeling it like, oh my gosh, I just did this. It's so amazing. It's like, everybody's smiling and they've had such a wonderful time. And I was a part of that and it feels so good. And I just sit with that. And I tell you, it is impossible to feel depressed or sad or angry or frustrated about anything if you can connect your heart to an emotion that you want to feel. And if you're having a hard time, because some people don't do that easily, you can place your hands on your heart, and within 90 seconds of breathing into your heart, imagining not that your lungs are expanding as you breathe, but your heart is expanding. Okay. So you're literally pulling the oxygen into your heart and out of your heart. If you do that for 90 seconds, anybody who's not in psychosis can actually be in their heart and start to feel grounded and get back to themselves. Today, we are introducing someone who is not just offering a service, she's holding space for full body healing and soul level transformation. Susie is the extraordinary woman behind Sunshine Healings, a deeply sacred wellness studio located in South Surrey, BC. When you walk through her doors, something shifts. The air feels calmer, the energy feels safer, and your body remembers what it feels like to come home. Susie brings together sound bowl journeys, healing music, traditional spiritual song, Reiki, womb restoration, crystals, and the technology of her PEMF mat to create powerful healing experiences for both men and women. This is more than therapy. This is a return to wholeness. And that is why the Ladies in Power podcast is proud to lift up this local business that is doing global level work. Now, let's hear directly from Susie herself as she shares the intention behind Sunshine Healings and the sacred energy that flows through her studio.
Hi, my name is Susie from Sunshine Healings, where you are invited to reconnect with your heart and step into your true self. Here, every part of you is seen, heard, and held in a sacred space of love and light. Through your cranial sacral therapy, womb healing, and shamanic energy work, you'll find peace, empowerment, and transformation. Our clients leave feeling lighter, freer, and deeply connected to their true purpose. Step into our space and allow your heart to open and shine and transform into the beautiful being that you are. You are welcome here. We are here to support you and empower you with your healing journey. Book your appointment today at sunshinehealings.ca. I am so looking forward to connecting and supporting you.
I want to share something about a meditation, and that's why I was asking Mika, because she introduced me to a book called Superhuman or Supernatural by Dr. Joe Spanza. And I know I'm a Muslim by birth, and part of the ritual is to get up at 4 a.m. and do your prayers. And I always thought, Muhammad, peace be upon him, had nothing better to do than wake up at 4 a.m. That's just madness. And then I was raised in a Catholic school, and the nuns were telling us to get up at 4 o'clock and pray. And I thought, well, Jesus Christ, bless him, he had nothing better to do. And then as a dentist, a lot of my patients are of Sikh or Hinduism. And funny enough, in their religion, they also are asked to go to the place of prayer and also 4 in the morning and meditate. And a lot of my patients were doing that. And then I met a lot of Ismailis that also had the same ritual. And I'm like, And yet, as smart as I am, nothing clicked. And I'm still sleeping through the 4 a.m. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. And then when Mika suggested to read this book, because another doctor had written it, because it was scientific, because it has scientific backings, he talks about our pineal gland, which is right at the back of our head. And of course, the pituitary that's in between the two brain hemisphere, but the pineal at the back of the head secretes two main hormones, serotonin and melatonin. And melatonin, which is the sleep hormone, gets actually at its maximum levels at 4 a.m. And if you get up between the hours of, we would say, 2 to 5 to be, because we're in the northern hemisphere, and meditate, the secretions are going to be at its maximum, which means you're actually going to have a more advanced, if you want to call it, or elevated electromagnetic field that will allow you to receive revelation, which is what everyone that's been in the self-heal, whether it's doctors or whether it's yogi men of India or whether it's anybody else who's done this breath work and meditation work has been talking about. So really the best thing you can do for yourself is to meditate. And even though I've known about it for many years, I haven't been a practitioner in a sense that I practice it regularly, but I know that my friends here have been doing it, and it's really good to now scientifically read about it and know why it's been helping. So thank you for letting me onto that book. So yeah, self-help. What else has helped in you?
You're welcome.
Yeah, that was an
Oh,
amazing
that makes me so
book.
happy.
Well, my husband is also a dentist. We've been married for 35 years, and he's the naysayer. He goes, well, just because a guy 2,000 years ago said you should get up and meditate, what does it make it right? And you're like, yeah, maybe he's right. Somebody said this. But when everybody is pointing to the same thing, and then a book, gets handed to you, and here is a doctor who, using the latest technology, is measuring all your electromagnetic fields, telling you how elevated you can become. You're like, okay, now I get it. So I'm going to add meditation to my self-care unit, package, but I love a massage, like Gurvinder was saying, and I absolutely love being in nature, like Sandeep was saying. And, Mika, I know you don't have children, but you do so much. I mean, you speak, you travel, you promote LIPS, which is Ladies in Power, which is we're part of. You do so much. I would say you do more than 90% of the women that I know. I mean, it's incredible. And you're asking us how to balance yourself. You should be telling us how you're balancing your life.
I just have tremendous admiration for mothers. I really do. Thank you for saying that. And when I watch a woman with 4 children, 2 children, one of my best friends has 5 daughters and 3 granddaughters, and just like and she holds a career and she hosts retreats, and I'm like, how do you do this? And that's the magic, I think. That's the power of being a woman, that we will rise to what matters to us.
Yeah.
Regardless the amount that we can produce when we are feeling fulfilled or pulled towards something, when we want to do something or we feel a need to do something, we are capable of so much. It is shocking. So, yes, thank you. I do have a lot on my plate, and I'm driven by service. I'm driven by women changing their lives, women, getting out of that unhealthy relationship or discovering the value that they have or taking time for themselves to come to sunshine healings or to go for a walk outside or get a massage. It's just, I'm so in love with the woman, today's woman. I have tremendous respect. And, honestly, the greatest secret for me in finding joy in my life and finding a way to make it all work with a smile on my face most days is being present.
Oh, yes.
And you touched on that so elegantly,
Yes.
as elegant as you are. Like, you are
Today,
so
Mika is
stunning.
just loving on Sunday.
I am
She is.
so
She likes
in
the
love with this. Look, her hair, your eyelashes, this beautiful dress. I've never seen her in pink. I'm just like, amore, love. Like, will you be my Valentine? You're you look so great in pink. I look over and I forget what I was saying. She just looks so great today, honestly. And I forgot what I was saying.
Yeah. Presence.
Tony Robbins, one of my mentors, talks about something called in time and through time. And it was so validating when I learned this. And I was like, yes. So in time is somebody who notices time and they're on time. For the most part, you know that you have this. You've got it in your mind. This is how I understand it. And somebody who's through time has no idea what time it is. They're just in the moment, enjoying the moment. And that's me. So one of the greatest gifts that I get from people in my world is saying, I feel seen. I feel you're so present with me. It's such a gift that you have. And thank you. It is a great gift. And yet there are consequences of forgetting things and being late. And because I'm so in the moment. And that is something that really helps me stay grounded.
Right.
And balanced, because I'm not so worried about what I'm supposed to be doing next. And as people get to know me, they understand that and they respect it. And I think people feel it.
Yeah, people
It's
feel
not
that
personal
from
that
you.
I'm late. It's like, oh, she's working with somebody right now. She's putting them first. And I know that when I'm with her, I'll be put first. So if you're one of those people, surrender to it, lean into it, instead of being guilty about it or feeling different or feeling shame, which I did for so many years. It's like Tony Robbins gave me permission. And it's not that I don't work on it. I still am aware as much as I can be. And knowing what I didn't know helps.
Yeah, that's funny because that's one of the first things we noticed about Mika. She brought us all together. She, she's the voice, the energy truly behind all of this. And she is that through time person, and I'm the on time person. Okay? And I had an issue with this for the first 2 episodes because I was running late. And I think now I understand. And, it's really a blessing to be so in joy with what you're doing. That you lose track of time. And that's what they say when you find your passion. When you forget that all time exists. And according to this book that we just talked about by Dr. Joe Dispenza, there is no time. There is plenty of time. That is true. If we do not live in the Newtonian time, which has been sold to us, this is the matrix. If we really tap into the true reality, there is no time. And we should take all the time we need to do everything we love. So Thank you for that.
Preach, sister.
Yes.
Preach.
Oh my! I just read the book,
Love it.
so that's why.
Hold on, it's
That's why that's why we're talking about it. One of the things Mika asked us to do is let our listeners know about the new knowledge, about what you're learning. So I'm putting that out there.
Mhm.
And the other thing that has always helped my children when they get anxious is just to breathe. I think breathing techniques. A lot comes from India, from yogic, from yoga teachers. A lot comes from Sufism and the Sufi masters. And I think if nothing else, breathing in a count of 4, holding it for a count of 8, and then breathing it out in the count of 16 if you can. So actually your breathing out should be longer and to get all the stale out.
Can I add something?
Mhm.
Absolutely.
So when we breathe, if we place, so this is a trick that I just learned from my Awakened Mind course. If we place the tongue right behind the teeth and allow the tongue to relax, it signals to the vagus brain, to the vagus nerve, that we're going to start something different. And so we're going to breathe in and out through our nose. So the tongue relaxes in the whole oral cavity.
And you're filling up your belly.
And you're, yes.
If you want to fill
At
up
the
your
same
chest,
time.
that's fine. Start with your belly. Fill your belly first. So when you take a deep breath, your belly's going out. It's going out because there's oxygen coming in. So you want your belly to go out, and then you can fill up your chest.
And one of the cool things about relaxing the tongue is the tongue, when you tell it, when you're asking it to touch right behind the teeth, you're letting it know that the chatter, the beta brainwaves that are going to the brain, are going to stop. And then
Promise?
it slowly, it's when you start breathing, it allows the alpha brainwaves to come in, and it allows the monkey mind brainwaves
To slow down.
lessen.
So let's put it together.
I just learned the same thing.
Good.
And it was very similar. Curl the tongue onto your palate.
Okay.
And that, like you said, it quiets the mind. There's some connection there.
yeah.
And I was like, wow, because when the tongue is moving, the mind
is moving. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So simple. And I was like, really?
I know.
Yeah. So anyway. Okay.
So let's
Read us, Mesa.
I think we should put all this together for them.
Yes.
So we were saying tongue.
Tongue right behind the front teeth, and then allow it to fill the whole mouth. And that signals to the vagus nerve that the body is going to start relaxing.
So we're going to take a breath in the count of 4. And as Mika was saying, we're going to make sure that our bellies come out. It's a full breath. So we do 4 in. 1, 2, 3, 4. We hold at the count of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we breathe out, count of 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. If that feels too much, we can do the breathing out at the count of 8. But if you can go 16, that extra stale, like actually forcefully breathe that air out.
So you're pulling your belly in. Well
Yes.
done while you were
Yeah.
breathing.
Yeah,
well
thank you.
done.
Yeah.
I
Thank you.
wasn't breathing, but thank you guys. I was concentrating on teaching you that.
But at the end of the day, what is meditation? It is anything that you are very present in. So my mom will sometimes say, I'm thinking about meditation. How do you start? And I'm not an expert by any means, or even I'm just a beginner. But I will just say, well, what do you enjoy doing? And she gardens. So then she's gardening. She's told me so many times, the streetlights came on. I didn't even realize it was nighttime. And this is in the summer months. So I'm like, that's an example, Mom, of you're meditating. Me with girlfriends like you, that is my passage through time. I do not know what's going on with time when we get together, even for the podcast. We have to kind of be mindful. We were only going to talk for this long. It's been this long, but we're here. We're present. So whenever you lose track of time or you're doing something that you're so engrossed in, I feel that's meditation. We don't have to make it very complicated. And how do I breathe? And how do I look? And what am I supposed to see? Just breathe. And I think just be. And when you're connected to your breath, that's our life force. And when we're connected to our life force, as Dr. Joe Dispenza says, and all the wise ancient sages say, you are in the eternal present moment.
Yes.
And that is when you are present. And that unfolding of that eternal present moment is the gift, that wonder why it's called the present,
Yeah, because it's a gift.
Exactly.
I love that. It never gets old. I hear it.
But let's be honest, though, there are times in our day, in our weeks, in our life, in different phases
that
where
don't feel like gifts.
No, and we've all been through them where we're just out of sync.
Yes.
We're just out of sync. So should we share what have been some challenging times for us that we've, looking back or even currently we're finding it's challenge to balance? Like, what are those examples where it's difficult?
Oh, are we going to go here? Because I'm going here, girlfriend. I am going here. Okay, did she just give permission to do that? Yes, she did. You did. Yes, she did. Okay, so one of the challenges that I'm having right now is government. I said it. Okay. It's just, oh my gosh, I said it. There are so many things going on, and I want to keep this relevant. I don't want it to be outdated. And regardless of what country you're in, regardless of what you believe in, regardless of whether you like a prime minister because of his hair or you don't like a president because of his hair, whatever drives you, I think the thing that I need to remember, because I'm frustrated. I am frustrated with feeling like I have no control over what happens in my country or the country next door. Our dollar is in the tank. I love to travel, and it's painful to travel, and I'm not able to do as much traveling because our dollar's in the toilet. And let's not point fingers. It just is what it is. And so I'm now looking at these things that I want to buy, these things I want to do, the places I want to go, and I'm starting to experience fear because I want to build my company larger and larger. And if I get caught up looking at all the things that could happen, I'm not going to do anything. And that's the place that I'm in right now. I'm in a little bit of the blame game, if I'm totally honest. And I got to remember, the government is never going to provide for me. It's never going to save me. It's not their fault for anything. It's totally up to me. If it is to be, it's up to me. Mm-hmm. And so let me take this opportunity then to leverage the situation to the benefit of myself and the ladies that are in the Ladies in Power group.
Yeah.
And to my husband, who's got a successful renovation company. It's okay. Let's look at this. If the dollar is going to change, then I need to look at how can I make the most of that. And so now I'm looking at ways to offset what potentially could happen while staying focused on my goal, staying focused on what it is that I want to create, and surround myself with women that are going to rise above, take responsibility, and turn the think tap on. Right? I think so much of what we do now is not about thinking. It's about reacting. It's about habit. It's about what we've learned in our families, our cultures. And we've talked about this before, and we'll talk about it again. And just really allowing ourselves to get curious. I've got a bracelet on, get curious, from one of my fabulous women's groups. And because if we get curious with something, we might not get as stuck. We might not get as angry. We might not get as reactive, which then puts us into a place where we feel helpless. And then it can spiral out of control to victim and depression and all those things. If we just, and another thing is to focus on what we want, and to recognize that where attention goes, energy flows.
100%.
And we must we must recognize that if we're focused on the sadness of the war or the sadness of death or the fear of government, then our energy is fueling that sadness, fueling that fear. And that is not a win situation. So not to imagine that none of that is happening, and to recognize that let me focus on the things that I feel I can control, which is how I show up in the world, which is the joy and love I can bring. As my beautiful friend Erin James says, spread more love and joy. That's her thing. And yeah, we get to do that. We get to do that. So I kind of went off on a little thing there. No,
Beautiful.
100%
It's
agreed.
great.
I think Gurvinder was just saying that our brain is so focused on the negative. You know, what gets
negativity
listened
bias.
to most,
Yeah.
the war, and what gets listened to the least. You know, all the happiness that's going on in the world. I mean, our brain just looks for stuff to be worried about.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
Crazy.
we are programmed for centuries and for
Millions of years.
millennia to look behind our back. We have this thing called the negativity bias. So our brain automatically goes to the negative.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually have to develop this side where we are looking for the sunlight and the sunshine and flowers and the smell and the scent, because our negativity bias kicks in all the time. And I think one of the ways, a really cool way to get out is to be creative. To find your
Yes,
joy is
yes.
to be creative. And there's this thing that I used to do with the kids. My one of the kids was sleepwalking and she couldn't sleep. And we found out that when she got up, she accidentally walked into the wall. And she would scream, and we thought she was having nightmares, so she wasn't having nightmares.
my goodness.
So we're like, okay, she's not having, but it took me months to figure that out. So what we started doing was 3 things that you're grateful for, how you want your day to go tomorrow. So I'm like, all the kids were super young when we started this. So they had to imagine what their day would look like
Wow, so powerful.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then they would have to create something.
Mm.
And so when we walked into Susie's place, I saw all the unicorns. I'm like, this reminds me of what we used to do. So the girls would create a unicorn. And they would have to, so sometimes the unicorn was as big as the room. It would be 10 feet tall. Sometimes the unicorn was as big as the house. And so they would have to state the color of the unicorn, the color of the eyes. Does it have lashes? Does it have a horn? What kind of horn does it have? Is it a unicorn or is it a Pegasus? What kind of tail does it have? How long is the tail? The color, the hooves, and if it had a My Little Pony emblem. So the girls had to create. And I found that when they went into that creative mode, they fell asleep and nothing bothered them.
Oh, that's so magical.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
The visualization.
The visualization. So
You're getting out of your head
Yes,
and you're
yes.
creating from your heart. That's
Exactly.
so beautiful.
Yes.
Mhm.
So we
Wow.
did create, and then they went off to create. We would always choose animals. But it was mostly unicorns. So we got really, really creative, decorating, creating unicorns.
Oh, wow.
Amazing. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
For me, it's super simple. And I'll piggyback off what you just said, that as you learn that you're a co-creator of your life, you are
Yes.
creating life with the highest
Yes.
consciousness, you every moment of every day, of every present moment, have a choice on what that moment is going to look like.
Mhm,
And what
mhm.
I mean by that is, for me, it's quite simple. If anything in life, I go, is it love or fear? Is it leading me to love or fear?
Oh,
And so
that's
then my
good.
choice is I
Wow.
choose love.
Oh, I
So
love
if
it.
somebody's going to make a statement about a situation or a person or whatever, and I can see that's leading to fear, that's causing divide and rift, I choose to go the other path.
Mm.
Appreciate, whatever.
Yes.
And I just stay on my path towards love. So when we talk about we're all one, we're all breathing Mother Earth, we're sharing that breath, we can't really have divide and say that we're all one too.
Yeah.
We are all one. Means take
Mm.
everything and everyone as they come and see them for the perfection and the creation that they are, and just choose love. And if it's as small as your little circle of life, if everyone has that small circle of life choosing love, boy, does that ever grow.
Oh,
And that takes on, I think, negativity. I also
Yes.
just recently came across in a recent retreat I was at that, I don't know the numbers. I never can quote the numbers, but I can tell you the feeling. And the feeling was one person vibrating at high energy can offset, like, it's millions of people.
Yes.
It's
like
vibrating at
yes,
low
It's
yes.
like being a
energy.
lighthouse. It's
We
like
are the
being
lighthouse.
Yeah.
Be a lighthouse.
So
Be a
yes, be a
lighthouse.
lighthouse. Yeah. So I think for me, it's easy. For me, all the complexities of life, I try to always just get down to what's the nitty gritty here. So it's love and fear, two opposing, emotions. which one do I choose? And it's choice, choice, choice every minute.
What do you do when you're in the shitstorm, though? I mean, I love hearing what you're saying about being in love and love everybody. And that's wonderful. And I don't know about you, but there are moments where there's a whole lot of not feeling love going on for whatever situation that I might be in. And, what are some of the techniques that you use to get out of that, to shift that, or to shift the thought process? Because I'm sure there's people that...
Yeah, great question. I'm still trying to get better at it, but any shitstorm as you called it is really, so this is conceptually, I know this, that any situation is negative or neutral. Sorry, not negative. It's neutral. We are deciding. We are choosing.
Oh my God.
Whether we're going to give that
a story.
Yes. Are we choosing to put positive on it, or choosing to be negative?
100%.
And if it is truly a really bad situation, isn't there even joy in choosing to say, wow, I'm getting to experience a human's really low emotion. Let me just feel that. Let me enjoy that. Because it's not
practice.
forever. It takes practice. It's not something that I'm preaching at all, because I struggle. But it's a knowing. And as that knowing grows, and we grow that pathway from a gravel road to a highway, because we're practicing it over and over, and it's the story we tell, and it's the constant, like, oh, I'm in a really tough situation, but I also know that this is something I'm giving a charge to. So what charge do I choose to give? I see this for what it is, and it will pass. Nothing stays forever. So it's, so yes, that just practice, repetition, until one day you're in it and you're like, you think about yourself 10 years ago and you think, wow, I am not that person anymore.
Yeah.
I'm really different. Like, I have learned to move through these in a very different way.
That's magical. I'm sure there's exceptions to it. There are heinous crimes that happen in the world, and to find a positive in that, or to find a neutral in that, sometimes is very hard. So just to validate anybody out there who
absolutely
might say, oh, that's easy for you, or whatever. It's not easy for us, because we do face, and that's kind of where this conversation started from, was some of the cockamamie crap going on out there.
But like Sandeep was just saying, and Mika as well, we give energy to our thoughts, what we're putting our attention. And Dr. Dreyer talks about this. There are many authors that talk about even things like cancer. If you are really sick, if God forbid something really awful has happened, like rape or anything else, at any moment you can just choose to say, I'm thankful because I know my body can heal myself. I know that my cells, there are stories after stories of people who have healed their ailments.
Yes, let's focus on that.
Our mind is capable of giving us. The universe is truly bountiful, whether it's our children or sickness or something awful. There is a quote, if we can imagine the worst, we can also imagine the best. If we can imagine that, the people are in war and they can lose their home, they can lose their families, but they can also imagine peace. So the more you can put that imagination and that energy out there, the more that's what we attract. I think in one of Dr. Dreyer's, he said, if you want something, don't think of what you don't want.
Right.
If you don't want this microphone, don't think about it, because that's like buying it and sending it home. Like, that's literally, if you say to universe, I don't want sickness, that's exactly what you're going to get, because the universe can't tell whether it's the sickness you want or the sickness you don't want. So just think health. If it's, if it's something peace you want, don't think about war. Just concentrate on peace. So to Mika's point, yes, we don't want to negate all the horrible things that people could be going through. We're just saying, if you do redirect that energy, you will be surprised what will come back to you. It's like the genie in the bottle. Ask for what you do want. Rub it the right way.
Yeah.
You're going to rub it the right way.
And one
Let's learn how to rub. Rub. Your wish is my command.
Yes.
And one of the things that we do in energy psychology is we say honor the feels.
Yes.
You have to honor the feels, because if we don't honor the feels, it's gonna find some place in the body and it's gonna poke itself in and it's gonna dig itself deep.
Yes.
And then later on it will come out. So what we say, and this is what I go through with tapping, is let's honor it. What are you feeling? And it might be a what the fuck moment. And we will tap on what the fuck. What the fuck just happened? We will tap what the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck?
Wow.
No, and I'm serious. When you say, when you're in that situation, honor exactly, I'm so goddamn angry.
Yes.
Honor it.
Yeah.
Honor your
Feel it.
emotions.
Feel it.
And by the time you get through the second, third round, because it's all coming out, A, it's not in you. B, you're vocalizing it. You're honoring yourself because you are feeling it. Feel those feels. And the great thing is that you're going to be like, okay, I feel better. And what is it that I want? Because you're back to that neutral charge.
Okay.
And you're stating what you feel. You're honoring yourself. You're back to that neutral charge. And you can go figure out what you do want.
A little bit of a disclaimer, just to protect everybody. You know, maybe you're not at a place in your world where you're able to say what the fuck and tap it out on your own. And that's where you want to talk to your doctor or to somebody local to get you some support who's trained. And so I just wanted to say that's really important because we're all at different levels of our healing journey, and you have some fabulous techniques for sure.
Yes.
And you know, you make an educated decision. Do I need to seek some mental health support? And if you do, then my gosh, girl, go get it, because I've been in therapy for 15 years on and off, and I think that it's the best thing I could have ever done. My marriage is more than 15 years, holy moly. My marriage is a 9 out of 10 because we go and see somebody regularly and don't let it stack up. So I just wanted to bring that to the forefront.
Good point.
Very good point.
And find a practitioner, a certified practitioner.
Yes.
Advice. And you know, when I think about how have I moved towards balance, I think one of the things is I think unconsciously I took pride in being a tough guy, like a tough girl. Like, you know, things happen, but I hold it in. Like I didn't cry very often. And I actually thought that was something to be proud of, like to be so stoic, not need help, manage everything on my own. And as I move along on this journey of life and, you know, heal parts of me or discover parts of me, I've noticed that as I take pleasure and joy and learn to feel, I cry a lot more. I love it. So even like in the despair of something not being great, there's a part of me that's going, go girl, cry it out. You're crying. Yoo-hoo, let's go. And it's weird because there's another voice that's actually applauding my crying part of me and saying, yes, you know how to cry, and good for you for crying. And I think that's beautiful, to learn to feel and to learn to ask for help.
Yes.
And not to feel, because I'll talk to certain friends and so usually with younger kids, and there still is this sense of guilt for wanting help, you know, having a hard time doing it on your own. And I just think, where is that coming from? Let's get rid of it.
Yes.
You need help, reach out to your friends who are, you know, available. Use the network around you.
Yes.
And don't feel like you have to do it all. So that's a big part of it too, is shedding that guilt or that embarrassment that I'm having a hard time managing, you know, 2, 3, 4 kids on my own. And I would love help. I would love something. But so that, and just also, and I think I just used to like just solve my problems away. Okay, if I'm feeling sad, well, like let me just prescribe myself something and I'll be better by 2 days. And no. Because
Dr. Sandeep was, before Google came as the main doctor, Sandeep. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I think it's so true. I think even more so in my generation, you were a tough guy if you held it all in and didn't ask for help.
Yeah.
That is so
why
true,
why do
Sandeep.
we bow to why did we ever think that's the way we need to be?
But even with young boys, you remember boys don't cry.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that saying or dads saying to their sons, toughen up, and that was just something that was ingrained. And now, no, you ask for that help when you need it.
Right. Yeah.
100%. Thank you for mentioning that.
Of course.
And with that, we want to say thank you so much for joining us today. We've had a lovely time. We did. We certainly did.
Yes, and we hope you got some benefit out of this as well.
We look forward to seeing you on the next one. Please type into the comments what you loved, what you'd like to see, where you're tuning in from. Where in the world are you? Are you local here? Are you somewhere, in a beautiful place or tucked away in a city basement somewhere? Wherever you are, we'd love to know. And we thank you for being here. You are a lady in power, and remember to step into your power. No matter what's going on, you can bring your love, your light, your joy to the world. It's free to smile, so give your smile away. And I will say that it's usually the person who's not smiling who needs your smile the most. So give it away.
It's free. So with that,
see you next time.
The views shared on this podcast reflect our personal experiences and opinions. This content is not a substitute for professional advice. Please consult a qualified expert for any medical, legal, or mental health concern. If this conversation spoke to you, please follow the Ladies in Power podcast and leave us a review. Your voice helps more people find this sisterhood and these conversations. Together we rise. And remember, your voice matters here.